morning, everybody, and welcome to the Quilters Apothecary. Today we got a great show for you. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. I've convinced Jamie to go over to the machine live. So we have the Amara all set up with a great new design that he's going to be going over this morning. So get ready for a great coffee with Jamie. Here's Jamie.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. I'm just organizing my mess here, as you well know. Nutty professor stuff. You know how that goes. All right, so I got my phone to pick prizes, all that stuff. Oh, and so thank you all of you who emailed Rich and put a burr in his bonnet, because I was complaining that I had nothing to mark with, and he gets real cheap with the marking tools, and so I actually got 2 more boxes of this. Plus, didn't you say, Rich, that you were going to order it in bulk now?
Yeah.
Because enough people wrote you and said, what's wrong with you? Let that boy draw. All right, so thank you again, everybody. Okay, so let me see. Yep, as Rich said, today we are going to be doing live quilting. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw a few different versions of the design that I'm going to be quilting, and then we will go to the machine and we will quilt it as soon as all the drawing is out of the way and that sort of stuff. What was that noise, Rich? Did I hear did I hear a special noise? That's right. Okay, so it's time. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so let's see. We've got our list here of people who pre-registered for this, and got 35. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 26.
Yay! Canada. Marcia S. Is Marcia S. here? Yes, she is. Hey, Marcia S. I see ya, I see ya. Okay, so let me think. Okay, Marcia, do you want something to quilt on to have fun with, or do you want something to piece with to have fun with? Okay, so Rich, if you want to grab the top hand die over there, I have chose 3 hand dies to put in the mix of prizes. That is the nickel, and it's got a little bit of lavender in it as well. So, ta-da! And this is sateen. That's the shiny side right there. So sateen has a shiny side on one side, and then it has a matte side. And you can't really see that shine, but that shine is gorgeous, Marcia. So you can put some stuff on here to practice on, like some medallions or some of the border treatments. And that'll be fun. Make a miniature type of whole cloth would be awesome. I like using them for that. So there we go. So Marcia, I'll put a star by you because you are a star. Okay, so now let me kind of head us in a few directions just to kind of get our bearings. Awesome, Marcia. I can't wait to see it. And please post pictures, you all. I'm assuming you can post pictures on the Patreon page as well under some sort of comments. And well, if not, email them to us and we'll show, because trust me, I never get to see quilts, and I say that all the time, and nobody sends me pictures still. So somebody did the other day, but I love to see pictures. So, and good morning, everybody. I'm not going to go through and do the romper room thing because I know that can be frustrating for some of you. But know that I see you and welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. So number one, let me start off with this. If you want to take me down to the table, Rich, before we get started here a little bit. This is going to be the design that we're actually going to quilt out. Now, I use this in a couple ways, and I'm going to show you a couple different versions of this. One way that I've used this is in some wide borders, and I love using this in wide borders for some quilts and then doing some really cool things on the outside. The other way that I've actually used this particular design is I've actually used it as an edge to edge. And I'll kind of go through with that, how I would actually do this as an edge to edge, kind of a modern type edge to edge when we get there after I draw this one. But I'm going to draw a few other versions first, just to give you a bunch of bang for your buck with this particular kind of a chain design. And then we will go from there. So I did want to at least give you a heads up on what we're going to be starting with. Now, oops, let me move that stuff out of the way so nobody's email is in the picture. So this is what we're actually going to be marking with. And this is our marking set for our ovals. We also have a whole matching set that matches the quilted version of each of these. So when I pre-mark with these are a 1/4 inch less, which means, of course, with your 1/4 inch ruler foot, you'll be able to quilt around them. And a few of the inside, once they get smaller, are actually the inside ovals. And I believe we're actually using these 3 for today's quilt along. So just so you know, whose ever rulers you end up using to use this design, you want to make sure that when you purchase their marking set, that they, like us, automatically have an actual quilting set that matches it. So that's very, very important so that you can pre-mark this, because this is not one you just grab the long arm rulers and go to. You want to make sure that you actually have something that matches exactly, because when you mark this, it needs to be exact. Pull this. So my poster board is 22 by 28. So I am simply going to locate the center. Obviously, you're not going to have a space like that. But I want to do some stuff with this drawing, because when we post this later, I want to be able to post the drawings that I made. So I'm going to go ahead. Do this. And this is going to signify what I'm drawing right now is however wide the border would have been, I would have measured, if it's 10 inches, I'd locate the 5-inch spot. If it's 12 inches, the 6-inch spot. If it's 6 inches, the 3-inch spot. So I would simply be locating the center horizontal line. And then, of course, I would be locating the center of the border proper. With this particular border treatment, as with most of mine, what I would be doing is I would be creating a cornerstone in the corner. I wouldn't be doing like a curling Amish feather type. So I would just sew in cornerstones in the corners, and then wherever this ends is where it ends, because this particular border design is going to be starting from the center of the border as I mark it and working my way out, and then it just happens to end where it ends. So, for example, with this version of it, it ended, this edge of the paper would have been where the cornerstone was, and it ended on a third of that last long oval. Okay, line that up. Done. Okay, there's the middle. So it might be this wide of a border, it might be this wide of a border, it might be however wide it is. It's going to work the same way. I'm going to keep this fairly generic just so you can play with it. All right, so the first one that I'm actually going to start with is I'm going to start with a basic chain using the ovals. So I'm going to start with this guy, and I would not start with my smallest oval because I find that that's too small. If I ever want to use that for accents, that's different. When I say smallest, I don't mean the middle. I actually mean the next up. That one's just a little bit too small for what I'm going to be showing you right now. Okay, so for this is the smallest one that I've used in a border, and this would be used perfect for a nice narrow border. Yeah, guy's quilt or a modern quilt or something like that. But you could really add some feathers to this later on when we actually go to do the fun play stuff. Filler and make it a little more feminine if you want, a little more universal. So what I would do is I would go ahead, line up my middle here on those lines. I marked my center. I'm using chalk right now. Now you're going to be marking on paper to audition this because that's what we always do. You want to be building a portfolio. Then when you go to the machine, you're going to be using whatever your marking tool of choice is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this, and as I slide it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it, make sure to line up this middle and this middle line because you can see that these have etchings in them. And remember, if you see a double line, for example, right now I see a double line when I'm looking this way, then I know that my etchings are now on top. That means that I need to flip my ruler over because the etching on any ruler needs to be against the fabric or against the paper if you're auditioning designs on paper. Now, I overlap that. I come right to the center. And when I come right to the center, I actually go in just a scant amount in that way. So that way it leaves enough for the thickness of my marking tool to go ahead, do my crossover, and I'm going to be working my way all the way over, repeating that same thing. Now I'm going to be getting rid of some of these lines, obviously, but I start with the whole thing. Get rid of it afterwards. Right now, just get everything in place. Over. Queen size quilt 4 weeks ago. How long did it take me to mark this out? Took me approximately for the queen size border 108. We'll go the wide side. To mark it, it took me about 14, 15 minutes. So that's not a lot of time. That's per border, by the way. And I'm slow. I'm not fast. I'm not like some of you. Some of you are amazing, and I'm just not amazingly fast. I'm just me. I'm slow. I'm old. Not decrepit, but I'm getting there. Not falling down the stairs like Mr. Ritchie today. And I told him he almost fell coming outside. Now see, now I'm back to the middle and I'm working my way that way. And I told him, don't you dare fall on my petunias or you'll replace them. how's that for love? And don't let the neighbors see you. You'll embarrass me. Don't fall. They'll think you're drunk. And neither one of us drink. Though he should. I always say that. You should drink. You'd be nicer if you drank. Okay, so there's the inside. You'd probably buy me more crap. When I say I want a fabric or a tool or something, he'd get right on it. All right, so there we go. So now this is our base. After you mark it, you simply wipe it away so that way it's not confusing when you actually go to quilt it. And that is exactly why you don't just grab your rulers and start quilting. Now let me put this back here. And now I might get a little bit of a double line. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so now you can see that those interlock, and you can see how they wrap around each other. Erase that a little bit better. Good. Good. And then I'm going to head over the other way. So here, if this one tucks over, it's going to go under. So I'm going to get rid of the under, heading from the middle out. So it's going to be mirrored, opposite. All the way over. All the way over. Now, I could have used circles, by the way. And we actually have another tutorial coming. It's not live, it's already been filmed and in the can, and Rich is going to edit it, where I'm actually using hexagons to interlock hexagons in a similar way. So, okay. Thank you, great color. What if your side border doesn't end in the same place? Does the cornerstone keep you from noticing a difference? Absolutely. So face forward. Absolutely. And that's a great question. So obviously, rarely do we get a square quilt. We usually end up with rectangle shaped quilts. So obviously, the cornerstone on the top, that is not going to end in the exact same place. So then when you go from the middle, as you're working your way up from the middle to the top, as you're doing the side borders, it's going to end completely different. The thing is, the eye doesn't look at how this one meets compared to this. It doesn't look at it as a puzzle piece. It actually looks at it as this is a different length than this. I do it all the time with some of my designs that you'll see coming up, and you've seen when you've taken the classes, like using the diamonds and that sort of thing. It doesn't matter how it ends when it hits the cornerstone. The cornerstone is a cornerstone. It's a barrier. It's a stop. And the human eye, what I found, because I wondered that too when I started doing these about 17 years ago. But what I found was that cornerstone is such a wonderful barrier that when it goes this way and you look and it stops in a different place, your eye doesn't automatically travel down to the next coming up to see, does that match exactly? Because your eye knows it's not supposed to, it's a different length. So yeah, it doesn't do weird things to your head when you look at it. Because I did think the same thing at first when I was coming up with stuff like this. Okay, so now let's go back down to the paper, Mr. Ritchie. Absolutely, Marilyn. When erasing the lines, you notice that the angle is the same. Yes, and that's exactly true. So, and that's one thing to keep in mind that I like to keep in mind. So here's my center out. What Marilyn is talking about, obviously, is I'm erasing from upper right to lower left here. Well, if I did that here, then the same angle is going to be down here, upper right to lower left. And I was going to mention that as well. So as long as you remember that, you're going to get this wonderful interlocking kind of a look. You will know because you'll see it. And then, of course, you have your drawing rulers right there. And you will mess up a few times when you're marking. I do, and it takes me just 15 seconds. Rich, could you do me a favor? Right over here, right here on my side, on my easel, could you grab that particular guy? Yep, perfect. Okay, so straight on for a second. So, Kay, is the purpose to have a center focus rather than moving left to right? For me, it is, and here's why. Because I don't like math. I have no interest in math. And if I start at the cornerstone and work my way over, then it could end odd at the other end. And even though I've done that before on a few quilts, um, it didn't make my eye too crazy, but it made me a little crazy because I know for my optic balance, that just didn't work well. It didn't, and a few other people have seen those quilts and they don't even notice it. And I'll say, boy, I wish I would have done that. And they look and they say, oh, I don't see that. I see it as a traveler, that it's going all the way around. When it gets to the cornerstone, it gets to the cornerstone and then it picks up again and continues around. So there you go. It depends on your eye. I prefer with stuff like this, center out because then it ends at the same spot on both sides. But again, some people are going to be different, and that's where the drawing is so important so that you can come up with the right way for you to get the flavor that works for you. Because we all have a different visual comfort level when we see certain things. Some people like traditional feathers. Some people prefer the look of over the top. It's all that stuff. So I say try both and find out which one you like. You can still start in the center and have it move from left to right by where you erase, right? Absolutely you can. In fact, I am going to show that on this next thing that I'm going to show you. All right, Mr. Ritchie said it's time. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 21.
Barbara, just Barbara, from Hampshire, U.S. Is she here? Nope. Okay, that's all right. You don't have to be here. All right, so Barbara, you're going to get a cup. Quilting is my superpower. Yay! Awesome. I like that cup. All right, Mr. Ritchie, you got that? It's the Quilting is my superpower cup. I did indeed. And I got to find the, that was 21. Make sure I don't get that again. Thank you. Get rid of my stuff to hide emails. Okay, bring me down to the table, Mr. Ritchie. Okay, let's look at this. Here are a couple examples that are a little bit different. So here we have starting from the center out, and all of them are mirrored going the same exact way. Here we do have center out, but they're a little different. They lock just a little bit different. They actually lock more like a chain, a neck chain, gold necklace. And so here it's like it's opposite here, and then so they don't all go this way, right? So they're going to go a little bit different. So that's another option just visually. That's what I'm saying. I'm showing you this so that you can see to play with these. Now here, of course, what we're doing is we simply use that same ruler, and what we're doing is we start in the middle, and you could do it long way. So let's say you had a wider border. So same thing, you would start here and then you would simply slide over, use your middle marks, and you could do it long ways. And then at the end, if you wanted to, you could put a small one in, and that's the one time you could use this little guy, and it would work cool just to give a little bit of an accent at the end before you get to the cornerstone. So that's another option. And then this one is going to be the infinity. And with this one, what I actually did is I still marked from the center, and I marked all of them all the way out on both sides. But then what I did is I came over here to this side, and all the way over, I got rid of these. So actually, Kay, this is a little more, I think, of what you're talking about, where you could have them all going the other way, whether or not they were horizontal or vertical, either way. And then, of course, we would put the feathers in secondary. So for this one, which actually I am going to do a tutorial on this using something like a feather and shooting that through the middle. I'm going to be doing this one in about a month as a full tutorial again with squares. And then you'll see how I kind of go ahead and I pre-draw the whole thing, and then I go ahead and I quilt it. And it's very cool to have something going through the center of that. It just gives a really neat three-dimensional effect. So those are some of the ways, some of the many ways that you can do this. And remember, you can do this with absolutely any shape you want. It does look like a tunnel. I agree. That looks so cool. I love the infinity stuff. Similar. I do not. I don't. So I do have that coming up as kind of a surprise. So let's go back to this one, because here is the one that we're actually going to go to the machine and we're going to quilt out today so that you can see my quilting path. So this guy is that guy. Okay, so before we head over to the machine, here's how we're going to do this. Let me see, do we have any questions about anything or anything else? Don't forget, this is Coffee with Jamie, so if you have other questions about stuff, please ask, don't hesitate. Got any questions? Anybody been sitting on a question that they've had for Coffee with Jamie? No? Okay. Now, the one that I'm doing in the other room is actually with the hexagons. I'm using a really wonderful copper metallic. So that's going to be really cool. I can't wait till you see that. Today we're going to be using isocord because it's live and I don't want to have to deal with any breakage issues, God forbid, live. And there we go. All right, I've got my glasses. Rich, is it time? Okay, face forward. Yeah. All right. Yay. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 5.
Ah, Kay, our beautiful Kay. Kay Klein. Is Kay here? Oh, yay. Oh my goodness. She was the one that just had the last stuff up there. All right. Is that a question that just came up? Okay. So, yep, let's do the prize first. Rich, I would like Kay's in Portage. Yeah, I was going to say that's Portage. She's in Portage, Michigan, not Portage here, a few miles away from us. So she'll have cold weather. So do you want to grab the next hand die? So I did this hand die about a year ago when I actually did my pelican, and I wanted something that had like these earthy tones, kind of do that. But I did it in flannel as a test. And I loved it, and I've been hoarding it because it's like I don't want to get rid of this one. Because Rich is like, "Are you going to sell that?" And it's like, "No, I'm not going to sell it." But so I was saving it, and I think you'll love it. It reminds me of the earth, and I just think it's cool. Whether you cut it up and use it as piecing and something for the winter, or a snuggly baby quilt, and this flannel is incredible. I love the flannel that we dye. The nap is the same on both sides, and it's meaty. and it does not wash away like a lot of the cheesy flannels that you buy these days. So, Kate, there you go, my dear. I think you'll love it. And it's a nice big piece if you want to do a some sort of a um, whole cloth. And again, another whole cloth thingy. Or practice borders whoosh, across. Oh, what I love doing that too. All right, so Rich, let's do a few more before we head over to the machine, because I want to give away some prizes here. They're here. It's the middle of the week. Hump day, isn't it? Yeah. Hey Siri, choose a number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 1.
Jan Nichols. Jan, is Jan here today? Hey Jan. Um, do you like the tweed? Is that something that kind of like, do you like the piece? Yes. Okay. So, and I'll give choices because you know I'm bizarre. This is like a really cool, it's got some teal. They're all beautiful. They got multi-colors and it's hard to see it on the camera. This has a little bit of teal and tan and brown. And then this one is a little more rusty red. Which one do you prefer? It's got black in it too. They all have a little bit of, yeah, this one does have a little black. Red. So this is the one. Yep. Okay, so that one's for Jan. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35. And I'm doing a lot of these before we go to the machine because we won't have a chance to do that. Sorry, Siri, I'll start over. I'm so flaky. Okay. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 23.
Carol Thurston. Yay! Did you see Carol here today? I thought so too. Yeah. Hey, Carol. Okay, Carol, so I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want a hand dye or do you want piecing fabric? Tweed or a hand dye? Hand dye. And it is my other last piece of that beautiful nickel with a little bit of the lavender in it. It's beautiful neutral. It is sateen. 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 So similar to the one that we did. Yay. And see, look at that. You can see this baby blue. It's robin's egg blue with a little bit of purple that runs through it. I love it. I love it. It's totally different when you see it in person. I love it. And then make sure you get to choose. You get to choose. I find with that sateen, which is my favorite thing to piece with, that you know, sometimes I like the shiny side and sometimes I like the matte side. And the matte side is gorgeous too when you don't want the shine. Okay, so you've got that one, Mr. Ritchie. And what number was that? That was Carol. Okay. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 35.
Oh, is my Anna here today? I wonder if she's here today. Anna, she's usually busy during the week. Anna Fricker, my sweet, wonderful Anna. Who is waiting for my round robin for a year and a half. Okay, well, Anna is going to get, do you remember, Rich, did Anna ever order cups? I'm going to do the cup, the Earth Century. I think she would like that. I love that Earth Century cup. So let's do the Earth Century cup. We're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to head over to the machine. We'll take a little break. So what we'll do is we're going to do our last 2 prizes, and then we are going to give you all a 8-minute break while we switch our cameras and set up over at the machine, so that way you can use the restroom if you need to and grab a snack. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 31.
Kitty Allison. Was Kitty here? I thought I saw Kitty's name. Do you see Kitty, Rich? Multitasking. Nope, Kitty's not here. Well, she still gets her prize. And Kitty, let's do another cup, last cup. Coffee with Jamie. There's a masterpiece inside every quilter. And this is my Rhapsody in Green whole cloth that I did. That's stolen in Houston. That was in the trailer, sadly enough. I missed that thing so much. I loved that piece. It had so many dragonflies in it. Okay, one last. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 21.
Okay, we already got that one. Hey Siri, choose a random number between 1 and 35.
A random number between 1 and 35 is 32.
So that's Emily Smith. Emily, are you here today? Emily, let me look through the thing. Nope, she's not here either. Okay, middle of the week, that's why. All right, well, she'll get the Quilter's Tweed. So she's got the Quilter's Tweed, Rich. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and you're gonna just leave they're gonna leave their computer on, right?
Yeah, don't shut anything off.
Don't shut anything off because you're on and we're still going. And so we're gonna take about a 5 to 7 minute break and we'll answer that, Diana. And then we'll come back and I'll be over at the machine and I'll be quilting this out. So when is the next coffee with Jamie, Mr. Ritchie? Do we have a date yet? He's going to look that up. Da, 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 am I allowed to do that or is that copywritten? Probably copywritten. Sunday, June 27th. Is that our little special thing we're almost sure about? Okay. Sunday, June 27th is our next ones. And we're not quite sure what we're doing then. We might do a surprise guest who's going to do an awesome tutorial. Okay. So there we go. Or it's going to be a how would I quilt this? And you're going to send pictures. Or it's going to be another something special live thingy. We haven't quite figured it out. We got so many things on the docket. Won't be a piece along. We'll have hopefully a few piece alongs started by then. So there we go. All right, so give us about 7 to 10 minutes. Keep your computer on. And then when it comes back, it will go right to me at the machine and I will start showing you how I quilt this out. Okay, so we'll take you in close to see the marking. I've already got the marking done so that we didn't, most of it. We're going to have to do the erasure part, but I do have the marking done and I am going to take you in on that a little bit closer in just a little bit. And you're looking funny. Is everything okay?
No, I was reading. Oh, I'm looking. I thought you meant the video was
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. So
live TV.
live TV. All right. So now, so I'm
They
using.
never get you to do these live, right?
I know. I know. It's like I like clean. I like crisp. All right. But this is fun. And this way you see real life. So again, these are the two rulers that we used. We went ahead and I made the decision that this was the design that we're going to do. So we're going to alternate between large and small because I thought that way that would kind of give you a little bit more bang for your buck to see how it was quilted. So these are the quilting rulers. So where we have it marked, for example, the big guy that's vertical on that one, that's going to be the outside, and that should fit perfect and match the drawing ruler. And then, of course, this one is going to match the inside. And then on this one, this same one will match the outside because I went down a size. And then the inside oval is going to match the inside. Okay, so now let me show you a few things. When we open that to go use that, we'll go there. But on the back of each one of these, I have gone ahead because I don't want things to slip. And I've used my 620 adhesive spray. I could have used the handy grip on the back, but I like this one. This is my favorite. So that's what I have on the back of the ruler because as I'm quilting those, I don't want any slippage. Okay, so I have marked everything with, since it's color, I would have used one of these two Bowens, and because I wanted a nice thin crisp line, I chose the small Bowen with the pencil thickness rather than the thicker chalk thickness. So that's what I've used there. A few of you were asking about the snips that I was using, and I am using the Karen K. Buckley. And I love these. These red-handled ones are the absolute best for your long arm. I used to use those scissory snippers, and what I found is every time they'd hit the floor, dead. So I switched to these, and these things hit cement floor all the time, and they're titanium blades, and they never go dull on me. I love, love, love these. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to have Mr. Ritchie take me to the center. So now I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to get rid of on this one is this top, which means going the opposite way. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay, so if I get rid of this one, then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the opposite down there to make it wrap. So again, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the opposite down here to make it wrap. So now that intertwines. So let's slide over just a little bit. Let me repeat that. All the way across, pardon me. I did indeed do the right one. No, I know. I know, and I might have to darken a few of those lines again. So here, same thing. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get rid of the top there, and then I'm going to come down and get rid of the long. So same thing over here. Get rid of the top, get rid of the long. And I would do that all the way across. I'm simply using a white eraser. That way it's not going to stain the fabric. Yes, you could probably get a white eraser from the office store. I don't know what's in them. If it would hurt fabric over time, I use a Bowen eraser. I've had this eraser for years and years and years and years and erased tons and tons of things. So I know it lasts, and then I'm going to keep working my way down, Mr. Ritchie. You're a little out of practice for this live thing, aren't you? It is the negative image. Okay, so you'll get it. You always do. Down, down. Same thing. Slide over. I'm going to again get rid of this, which means I'm then going to get rid of this. So if I go across up here, I'm going to go down here. And keep that right there for just a second, Mr. Ritchie. Let me bring this up. Let's widen that shot a little bit. Okay, so again, here would be our center. If I get rid of across here, then the one below, I get rid of vertical. Vertical. So horizontal, vertical. Horizontal, vertical. Horizontal, vertical. Horizontal, vertical. Now there's going to be a couple different ways that I could have done that, but that's the way that I like to do it when I combine these particular two. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to, just for the camera's sake, I'm going to refresh, because this is also going to be my, I want to audition a little bit of my sewing path. So, give me my pencil back. With these pencils, you don't want to make the lead too long because otherwise they will break. That's what I have found with these. So these will come to there, just like that. Over, just like that. Okay, so now that one's there. And I'm just darkening that just a little bit. Do I always? No. But I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. And then this would go up to the top. And again, once you've drawn this out a few times on your paper, you're going to get it. And then practice quilting it a little bit with your marker. All right, so now here I am. You're not in my way, not at all. Am I in your way? So I'm going to start up here and I'm going to come around and I'm going to go back. And of course I want to thicken this line a little bit because if I'm going to do this, I want to make sure that I show off. So I'm going to come back, come around, and remember I have some adhesive on the back. Come down, come around, that's where that's going to stop. Right there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to lock my stitch, I'm going to lift my needle, I'm going to save myself a little time, I'm going to drag, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop, lock my stitches, do a double lock, move my stitches a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit start again, and I'm going to come this way, back, forth, back, forth, stop there, get rid of my ruler, I got that one done, and just so you get the idea, that was a drag thread. I'm going to get rid of my top drag thread. I'm going to travel that ditch up, and I'm going to go right there for just a second because now I'm going to use my inside. So I'm going to, let's widen that shot just a little bit, Mr. Ritchie, so they see. Let me get rid of that stupid tail too. I hate the tails. Move my tape for the inside ruler. open it up, bring it down, puzzle piece. And again, I have a little bit of sticky on the back of that. And then very simply what I like to do is I use our red tape that we love, because you can peel this off and put it back as many times as you want, and it stays nice and good on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that up, and I'm just going to eyeball it to make sure it's a 1/4 inch away. 1/4 inch away. Okay, yep. I'm going to come down, and now I'm going to come to here, back, forth. I'm going to stop there because that's where it's going to overlap. Again, this is how I'm moving through this. I'm going to go ahead and lock my stitches. I've just locked my stitches, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my needle. I'm going to drag my thread to where I'm going to hook on. Actually, I'm going to move that over just a little bit, get it a little closer. There we go. Now it's in the right spot. Sometimes you got to play with it just to get it in the right spot. Now, I'm going to go ahead, lock on, travel around, there, back, forth, back. I'm going to pause there because now when I remove this, get rid of this, I'm now going to grab the next ruler and I'm going to do this section right here. So I simply grab that ruler, line that up. My hopping foot should already be right where it needs to be. To make that work, I'm going to take it up so it's a 1/4 inch off. You just kind of have to kind of line it up and then eyeball that so that that line looks about right. Remember, if you're a little off, you're going to be okay. Come down, back, let it be what it is. You can always, if you miss a little bit, like right here, can we go over there? For example, right there, I'm going to go and put a few more stitches in there when I'm all done. Just drop 2 or 3 stitches. It's going to happen. And by the time you put in whatever you put in on the inside, nobody is ever going to see that. That is the gift of quilting. Okay, that's lined up. Rounds up, come around, up, line it up again. Is my arm in the way, Mr. Ritchie? Okay, where did I go? Okay, does that go over and up? It does go over and up. So I'm going to go ahead, up, hit, thicken it, come back, thicken it, come back, and some of you probably saw as I traveled, I missed this line all the way up, which is why I like to work from right to left. That way I'm going to see anything that I missed right away. Go ahead, take that up there, pause there, give my little, see, and now you'll catch your few little stitches that you miss as you go. And again, you saw me lift my hand, get away from the ruler, and in that time this ruler did not shift because it's got adhesive on the back of it. Okay, so now I'm going to lift, I'm going to come up, lock, come around, lock my stitches, thicken, come around, get rid of my snips, Don't take out my Karen K's. Anything but those. That. So now, let's move that away. So now you can start to see, if you want to get this in the shot, Mr. Ritchie, how you would work this border all the way across using those 3 rulers. And you would end up with these cool guys all the way across. But did everybody enjoy that? I know it was a shortish, but hopefully sweet. That was 2 hours. So that went okay for a coffee with Jamie. I don't see any more questions. Do you, Mr. Ritchie? Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody. You're always so great to us. Know you're loved. Have an amazing rest of the week. What do we got coming, Rich? What's up next? Is the bird quilt? Are we still doing that one? Yeah. So that'll be released on Saturday. And then next week, the tutorial for the hexagon border is going to start. It's going to be border for the next few months. I'm doing borders. And another behind the scenes, then I'm going to be doing blocks. And also piecing is coming soon. So, and that's going to be one block wonder with panels and without panels. And then we're going to be doing a hollow cube. God, it's going to be awesome. All right, everybody. Know you're loved. Bye.